The time has come. Are you ready for Ringmasters, Larry Zbyszko, Roadblock, and the French Angel? Each sold separately. Collect all three, available now at participating partners only from Rush Collectibles.
Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest, former WCW superstar, of course, the Rochester Roadblock himself, Roadblock. How you doing?
Fine. Yourself, John?
I'm doing good. What have you been up to?
I'm
What's
blessed.
going on in your world?
Oh, man. I'm getting ready to retire, brother. Be 62 in about 6 weeks, and Lord blessed me to be able to reach retirement, Lord willing. Other than that, I got Salvatore got a hold of me, and we're going to do some business together. Salvatore sounds like a real good brother and nice guy like yourself, and, just live life after, you know what I mean? That next chapter.
Yes, it looks like Rush Collectibles. You can get them at hookedontees.com. And it's going to be the Ringmasters collection. There's an awesome new wrestling set with obviously Zbyszko and Maurice Tillett, the French Angel. But yourself, I was pleasantly surprised. Awesome looking figures from Rush Collectibles. You go to hookedontees.com, like I said. But man, that's pretty cool, right?
I tell you something. Salvatore is unbelievable. The way he came up with the whole making of it. It's just like looking in the mirror, actually, you know what I mean? 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Were you surprised that they're doing the figure?
Salvatore throws his stuff. I'm sorry?
Were you surprised that they're, doing a figure? Like I don't know, how did it come about?
Yeah, yes, I was, John. I was, honestly, I just consider it like I told Sal, I said, Sal, this is a blessing, man. This is the Lord just blessing me in so many ways. I'm just blessed. That's all I can say to you, John. I'm each and every day I'm blessed, man, and more I'm blessed. And, this here, my whole life, I've wrestled before I got into professional wrestling. I wrestled in junior high school, college, and then, I wrestled professionally, and, getting into the professional wrestling aspect of that was a little bit difficult for me because back in that time, in that era, it was very difficult to get into the business unless you knew somebody. And now, they got all these, the camps and the wrestling schools and, these guys and the girls too, they don't realize how blessed they are now to be able to have access to the business like they do. Because back in the day, man, it was like pulling teeth. You have to know somebody, and be in the right place at the right time. And, and after doing all that, my wrestling, it's not like I was a main eventer, WCW or anything like, WWF. I've wrestled in some main events, overseas and in Puerto Rico, Mexico, and that in Japan I wrestled, and I'm just blessed that, Salvatore called me up offering to do this here wrestling figure. Like I said, it's beyond belief, and I'm so blessed.
Yeah, they look awesome. I love it. You, Zbyszko, and the French Angels so far. That's it's going to be the first set, but they look pretty awesome. How'd you end up breaking into the business, though? How'd you get in?
Well, I wrote letters to, all the major wrestling federations here, and I was real green at the time, didn't know any better, realizing that, hey, it's not going to do anything. And I said, you know what, they're coming to town this certain day, and I had my mindset that, okay, I'm going to try and just keep doing the right thing until I have to take extreme measures. And, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake, they came to the local gym, and I said, let me talk to these guys here and see, what maybe they could help me, give me an avenue to go down. And what happened was Brutus at the time, he acted like, brother, get out of here. I don't know anybody. And then I said, okay, no problem. I'm not there to cause any problem. I'm trying to get in the business. And then Hulk rather, I asked him, and he said, brother, no one helped me. I made it on my own. And, after getting in the business and being in the business, that's, a crock. And I understand that I probably wasn't the first that ever came up to him and asked him that. So they blew me off. And I said, well, I guess I got to go to the next, thing to do. And my plan was that I'm going to just go to the wrestling that night and jump in the ring. And that's exactly what I did. I was sitting there up in the stands, and I'm saying, now I don't know who to jump in the ring against, because, I jump in the ring against somebody small, I'm going to look like, a fool. And then if I jump in the ring against Hogan, I'm going to get tomatoes thrown at me. I said, so let me just pick the biggest guy out. And it happened to be the one-man gang at the time. And when he came out, actually, it was just like, I don't know, it was like, I got a vibe from him, because he was, raising his hands, come on, to everybody, come on, in the audience. And my adrenaline just started flowing, and I just jumped up, and I ran down stairs and jumped over the barricades, and there we were, face to face. And one thing led to another, and somebody got a hold of me after that, and I ended up going to the Monster Factory for a while, and then I ended up going, it just kept rolling from there. Like I said, I'm just so blessed, man.
I always wondered if that one man gang story was true or not. Did you get arrested for that?
Yes, I did. What happened was, as I jumped in the ring, like I said, I wrestled amateur my whole life. And, the last thing I'm going to do is predetermine what I'm going to do, because if it doesn't go the way you plan on, then you got a serious problem. So I went in there amateur on them, and I tried to do a double leg, pick them up and slam them. And being 500 pounds, 6'10", and that's his actual size, there's no way that's happening, especially if he's not going for it. And so I just, went amateur on him, and I put a Navy on him. I took him down. I'm, greener than the grass, and I'm looking for the ref to count 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden, Slick. You remember Slick?
Oh yeah.
He jumped on my back with his cane, and he started wailing on me, and I didn't feel anything at the time. The adrenaline flow was going, and he pulled my hair. And when he pulled my hair, you got to go where that goes. So I just got up and I turned around, and now it's him and me face to face, and I'm not looking to try and take anybody out like that. So I just mushed him away from me. And when I did that, I turned around, and guess what? There's the one-man gang on his feet walking towards me, and I'm backing up. I'm saying, oh boy, what are we going to do here now? So my back is at the ropes, and the security guards pulled my legs out from under the bottom rope. They pulled me out, and they put me in handcuffs, and I ended up going to just to, not in jail, but I just went to the front office of the jail, if you know what I mean. And they just gave me a disorderly conduct and an appearance ticket in court. So I got arrested for I didn't get arrested, but they gave me 2 tickets, disorderly conduct, and that was the brunt of that there, jumping in the ring, which I'd do again if it was all over again. You know what I mean? But I would have did
Yeah,
things a little
got
bit
you
different.
noticed. Yeah, oh yeah. It got you noticed though, right? It
Yes,
got
it
you
did.
noticed by the Monster Factory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yep. And then I went to the
So
Monster Factory, and it happened to be the time when Vince was trying to deregulate the wrestling, because the athletic commissions were making so much money on him. He didn't want to part any of that with them. And so all these different what do you call it? People Magazine, Rolling Stone Magazine, Playboy Magazine, all these different places came to Monster Factory because they were the most well-known wrestling school in the country. And, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I got a little bit of publicity, while being there.
So when you're doing that, how do you get noticed, like to move on to, Japan, whether it be Wing or SWS? I mean, how do you get noticed?
I was at the Monster Factory, I'm going to say, for 3 months. And I felt that I could have learned a whole lot more, but I was in a situation where it wasn't like Larry Sharp was getting in the ring teaching me. And basically, I was being taught by guys that would come there just to roll around in the ring, just to stay, what do you call it? Practicing, you know what I mean? For, so they don't lose what they got, if you understand what I'm saying. And I said, you know what? Let me call Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico was a place where Bruce Brody just got done getting killed. And what happened was there, I called Puerto Rico, and they like big guys. And, Bruce Brody was a big guy. And I ended up going there and ended up wrestling for about 6 months, getting experience. And then I left there. And while I was in Puerto Rico, I met one of the greatest guys in the wrestling business, Victor Quinones. He had a connection with Japan, and Japan was just starting up a new company called SWS, and he was good friends with Kendo Nagasaki. And Kendo Nagasaki brought me over there. And then I asked Kendo Nagasaki while I was over there for like a weekend tour, if I could come over there and train Japanese style. And he said, absolutely. And he get back a hold of me. And in March of 91, we came up with a deal, and I went there for 8 months, lived there, trained and wrestled. And the only ones that were over there was the WWE. It was WWF at the time, and myself. Other than that, there were no other gaijins. Gaijins are foreigners, in English. But, I was the only foreigner over there. And, after I went over there, I got a hook up with, what's his name? Kendo Nagasaki. He says, I could get you over in Mexico. And I went over to Mexico, and, that's how that just, the ball just kept rolling. I was so blessed, man. Like I am today. I'm just blessed. I can't thank God enough, man. I'm blessed. Each and every
Did
day,
you
John.
did you like
Just like you,
Japan
my
though?
man.
I mean,
You're blessed too. You know that, right?
oh yeah,
Japan,
definitely.
Japan was it was wrestling, and everywhere I wrestled, like whether it was Puerto Rico, Mexico, or Japan, it was all different. They had their own styles. In Japan, you wrestle in Japan, it's kind of like a night out at the opera, if you understand what I'm saying. They go in a dressed up suit, and they don't scream and holler like in America. When you do a high spot, where you jump off the top rope or do something like that, and then they clap. You know what I mean? In Mexico, it's their wrestling rings are basically all in a bullfighting arena, and they wrestle in rounds, 2 out of 3, and they throw pesos at you. I mean, them pesos don't tickle when you get hit in the head with a peso, John. And then in Puerto Rico, it was the most dangerous, but I loved it the most as far as the adrenaline rush. I love Japan the most as far as, just being nice and, the wrestling style and everything like that, just the culture and all that. But Puerto Rico, I just had an adrenaline rush like no other, because in Puerto Rico, there's no ringside seats. There's 2 security guards there, and there's like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7,000 people. And they, they're wild there. You cannot go to Puerto Rico and say it's fake, because if you do, you probably end up getting stabbed or something. And I mean, they would literally urinate in a cup, throw it at you, throw spark plugs at you. I mean, I'm telling you, man, Puerto Rico was just an adrenaline rush like no other. You know what I mean? But and they loved a lot of blood too. You know what I mean? Puerto Rico was just it was an adrenaline rush like no other. I loved it. I loved it. You know, and
How was the
that's
pay?
how I
Were you
ended up
being
going to these different hookups. I'm sorry.
How was the pay? Were you paid okay?
Yeah. It was. I mean, Puerto Rico. Out of the three places I got paid, that was the least. Mexico was above Puerto Rico, and then Japan. I was on a contract. Well, I was on a contract in Mexico too. But see, Mexico, they're with the mask, and they have the end of your tour. Your last match, basically, it builds up a story to where it's a mask versus mask match. And when you take your mask off, they pay you a bonus, if you understand what I'm saying, because Mexican style is, to lose your mask is a humiliation. You know what I mean? And I'm not Mexican. I'm, American, and I'm, was there to make money and work, and you know what I mean? So I had no problem with taking the mask off at the end. Actually, I don't know how some of these guys wrestle with masks because it's just so hot in there. The blessing, man.
And you feuded with the legendary El Connect. So, I mean, you had a good push in Mexico, too. You were highly thought of.
I'm sorry, you came broken up on me that time, John. I'm sorry.
Oh, you had a good feud with El Connect down there in Mexico. So you were well thought of. I mean, legendary guy. So you were on top of the card for a while.
Oh, oh yeah, oh yeah. Connect. I love Connect. Connect was the man. He was, and he was a good man too. You know what I mean? He was down to earth. I loved Connect. He was a good man. He helped me out a lot when I was down there. Connect, you're right. I'm surprised you heard of him, huh? You know about Connect.
Oh, yeah. Huge name down there. Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever have a chance of
I
going?
tell you, I tell you who. What's that?
No, what were we going to say?
I tell you, the one that really kind of had me shaking my head and scratching my head was Mil Mascaris. And the reason why I say he had me scratching my head is because, okay, I understand he's legendary down there, and he's there to protect his gimmick and not let anybody see his face. But that brother there, John, we would be in the van for a 3-4 hour drive to the next town to wrestle, and he would wear his mask the whole way there with all the boys on the van, in the van. He'd take a shower with his mask on. He'd eat at restaurants with his mask on. He would brush his teeth with his mask on. I mean, like, wow. I understand protecting your gimmick, but I mean, wow. Really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, I got to see him because when I was there, they had me do a double that day. So, in other words, what I'm saying is I had to wrestle the best out of three. And after we wrestled the best out of three, Mil Mascaris and me, we got in another van and we drove like another 3 hours. And him and I were in the main event. And everybody else.
Oh, you're back. You're saying about working the main event with Mil Mascaris?
Yeah, I was in the main event with Mil Mascaris. And after we got done wrestling, it was only him, myself, and the promoter in the locker room. And he took his mask off. And I was really shocked that he did that because, I got to, like, oh, here's the real Mil Mascaris. I mean, and I just said, wow, I mean, he protected himself that much with the boys, if you understand what I'm saying. The only thing I screwed up was that I didn't get one of his masks because, I just like to keep souvenirs from different places I've been. And, Mexico with the mask, I got, Connect. I got the Villanos. I'm sure you heard of the Villanos, the famous wrestling family down there. And what's Rey Mysterio when I was in WCW. You know what I mean? Then I got my mask when I was Tower Inferno in Mexico. So, I just, got them up on my wall and just memories. You know what I mean?
Did you mind wearing the mask? Did you like wearing the mask?
No, I didn't like wearing a mask because I felt um, restricted as far as my breathing, my seeing. You know what I mean? Everything. No, I didn't like it. I was glad that the mask was coming off. Believe me, and I'm getting a bonus for it too. Me. So I was really happy that day came.
Did you ever have a chance to go to the WWF and work for Vince? I think you did some enhancement matches or
You
maybe some
broke on me
tryout
again. You
matches.
broke up on me again, John.
Did you ever get a chance to work for WWF? Like, did you do enhancement matches or tryout matches? Did you ever have a chance to work for Vince McMahon?
I don't. I didn't catch anything you said, Jen. I'm so sorry.
Did you have a chance to work for Vince McMahon,
Is it
WWF?
my connection or what?
Could be.
What's that?
Could be your connection. Did you
Should
ever have a
I?
chance?
Because I'm not on the. I'm not on
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, and you're a lot better. I got connected to the Wi-Fi at where I'm at because I
Oh,
was doing
awesome.
it out of my phone.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. Hey,
Yeah.
you sound much better.
Oh, you
I
you
was
sound
asking
clear as
if
day.
nice. I was asking if you ever got the chance to work for WWF, like for Vince McMahon. Was it tryout matches or what for
Yeah,
them?
I had a couple dark matches with Vince. Vince, a lot of people can say whatever they want to say, but Vince held a grudge against me because of the fact that there were two times I had dark matches with him, and the two times I had dark matches with him, I was brought to his office. And see, Randy Savage, when he was over in Japan, like I was saying to you earlier, I was the only foreigner other than the WWF coming over there with this company, SWS. And so Randy Savage and I got, talking and this and that. I said, he's never going to let me come work for him after I jumped in the ring. And Randy was heen and hawing, oh, yes, he will. My father and I and Lenny Poffo had another wrestling company and we were going against his, and he, look at where I'm at. I said, okay. So, I take him for his word. So anyways, we get back. It just happened to be the weekend that I come home from Japan. WWF is in my hometown doing a TV taping, and everybody's there on TV tapings. And Randy Savage is there, and he says, hey, brother, Block, what are you doing? You're home, huh? I said, yeah. He said, let me come introduce you. Let me bring you and introduce you to Vince. I said, oh, shoot, he's going to look out for me. You know what I mean? So he takes me to Vince's office or his room, and Vince answers the door, and he goes, yeah, what's up? And Randy Savage says, you know who this is? And Vince says, no. And he's looking at me, and Randy says, you don't know who this is? He goes, no. And Randy Savage, instead of saying, well, he just got back from Japan, he's a good worker, bada bing, bada boom, putting me over, he stuck it to me and said, this is the guy that jumped in the ring against, when Hulk Hogan was walking to the ring against the one-man gang. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, if tell me that's not, shooting on me. You know what I mean? I mean, he buried me. He buried me. And so Vince said, okay, and closed the door. And then I got a dark match in Erie, PA. And after I got done with my dark match, who was it? Chief Strongbow came up to me because he was an agent. And he says, Block, come on with me. I want to take you to Vince. And somebody said, he never does that with any of the guys. You know what I mean? He says, he must have really been impressed with your dark match. And so when he took me to Vince, he knocked on the door. Vince opened up the door, and Chief Strongbow says, did you see his match? Yeah. He said, oh, do you know who he is? He says, yeah, he's the one that jumped in the ring in Rochester. So, I mean, that stuck in his head.
Yeah.
Or else, you know what I mean? So I never got any kind of breaks with the WWE. You know what I mean? Or WWF. And the way I got into WCW was with Kevin Sullivan. We were over in Japan, and we got along good. And he said, "Brother, if I ever got any kind of a spot somewhere, man, I got you covered." And I said, "You don't have to do that." He says, "No, brother, I got you covered." And I found out, a couple of years later, he was the booker for WCW when they were going against WWF, and he brought me on. I mean, could have they gave me a better spot? Absolutely. Could have they have done me a whole lot more justice? Definitely. But it's all good. I'm blessed, like I said. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm blessed. That's all I could say, John. I mean, I could have got a better spot. They could have, gave me a push or whatever, but they were really screwed up. I'm sure you know that.
Oh yeah.
WCW, you know what I mean? And so, there were guys there that, you know, they had much more talent than me that were even getting overseen, if you know what I'm saying, and couldn't get a push because they were just so stuck on, the Hogue and the K or the Nash and the clicks. You know what I mean? 1-2-3 Kid and Scott Hall. They were their, Lex Luger and Savage, and they weren't thinking about the other talent. They wanted to keep running on the old guys rather than get the new guys in there and give them a push. But that's why they fell apart. But too many Chiefs and not enough Indians, I guess.
Were you under contract?
No, I was never under contract, and that's why I stopped going. You know what I mean? They kept sending me tickets. They sent me a ticket to wrestle Bill Goldberg again after I wrestled Bill Goldberg his second match ever. And what I mean by ever, Bill Goldberg never laced up a pair of boots before he wrestled Hugh Morris. Hugh Morris was Bill Goldberg's very first match ever. And when I mean ever, that was his very first match. It's not like he was on the road like everybody else, paying their dues. I drove from Rochester, New York to Prescott, Maine, which is a 20-hour ride, believe it or not, for $50. You know what I mean? Bill Goldberg never did that, not one time. God bless him. He was in the right place again at the right time, because that's what, it's really all about. And God bless him. But, I was Bill Goldberg's second or third match, and so months down the line, they wanted me to wrestle Bill Goldberg on the Monday Nitro in Miami, Florida, and I said I can't make it. I got to work, because I was working for the city, and my boss or my supervisor would allow me to go wrestle anytime because he was a big wrestling fan. Joe, anytime you got to go wrestle, don't worry about it. You got a job here. I said, okay, I appreciate it, Elmer. So, they sent me the ticket, John. They sent me the ticket, and I could see the ticket. They didn't even call me. They sent me the ticket, okay, because they took me for granted, if you understand what I'm saying. They sent me the ticket and said, okay, Miami. And I called them up. I said, I can't make it. I got to work. And so they said, okay, no problem. I sent the ticket back. The next Monday, they sent me another ticket to Louisiana, New Orleans. And I called them up. I said, you know what? Let me talk to JJ. And I talked to JJ, and I said, JJ, I'm not going to pull no punches. I'm not going to play around, waste your time or mine. I said, everybody's pretty much got some kind of a deal there other than me. I said, if you can't give me some kind of a deal, I'm just going to, not come anymore. And and this is at the time where they were having all kinds of fallouts. You know what I mean? They were falling apart at the seams. And, I just said, if you can't give me a deal, I just won't be back anymore. And he said, well, we'll give you a call. We'll let you know. And that was it. And I ended up doing a couple independents with Public Enemy. You know what I mean? Because they ended up leaving there and went to WWE. And actually, Russo called me, but I wasn't at home at the time. I was on the road. Russo called my house and left a message because I guess they were going to bring me in to wrestle with, what's his name? John Tenta, Earthquake. But then what happened with that, how that went south was the Giant, Big Show. He ended up leaving WCW to go to WWE. So they didn't need John Tenta or me at that time because, Big Show, he was only like 26, 27 years old. He was up and coming. You know what I mean? So, he got rid of Tenta, and I never ended up going there. And I just ended up staying at my city job. And here I am, Lord bless me, here 20-something years later. And 2 months from now, I'm going to retire, and Sal and I are going to do some business together. I'm going to go do some autograph signings and stuff like that, and leave the rest up to the Lord up above. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think a lot of people remember, though, for WCW, you and Luger having those matches, and then they kept teasing, would he be able to get you in the torture rack? Can he get you up? I think so many people remember that.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that was on Facebook about, I'm going to say 2-3 weeks ago, John. It was on Facebook. That match. Oh, is he going to get him up? Is he not going to get him up? Oh, there's no way he could get him up. And I mean, there was, I don't know how many different people responded to the post.
Very memorable, though. Like, I still vividly remember that because obviously you're a big guy, but like, let's see how strong he is. Will he be able to do it? Very
Mhm.
cool. Very memorable.
Yeah, he couldn't get me the first time, and then he was struggling the second time. I said, give it one more time. Give it one more time. You know what I mean? And we just timed it right, and he got me up there. You know what I mean? And how he dropped me, that was another comment on the post. Oh, man, he just dropped Roadblock like a sack of potatoes, didn't even care. And I felt at that point, I am a big guy. I was like 400 pounds.
Right.
And, for him to just get me off the shoulders, it was all good. I got to watch out for myself. As long as he didn't throw me, you know what I mean? He basically just lifted his arms and let me fall on my own, if you understand what I mean. It's not like he
Yep.
tried to hurt me, because then we would have, had a you know, misunderstand. Things wouldn't have been the same,
Right.
you know.
Yep.
But you know, I'm like I said, I know I sound like a broken record, but man, I'm blessed in so many ways. I mean, because you know, to been there and be able to do that, it was fun, man. Luger was a little greedy, in my opinion. I should have, got some more. Like I said, if I was to do it all over again, I would have did it a little bit different. If you understand what I mean, I would have went more amateur on these guys. If you understand what I'm saying, I think what I did wrong was I was a team player. You know what I mean? I understood my job was to get these guys over, but I kind of screwed myself by not getting mine in there when I should have. If you know what I
Right.
mean.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But it's all good. It's all good. I mean, it's all good. You know.
Makes sense. So you got to look out for yourself too.
Yes, yes, true, very true. Like I said, I mean, if I was to do it all over again, there's some things I would have done different, and maybe I'd have ended up in a different spot. But everything happens for a reason, John. You know what
Did
I mean?
Hogan remember you from WWF when
Oh
Hogan saw
yeah,
you?
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, what happened was when I went to WCW again, Randy Savage out to stick it in me. My first night there, when I was wrestling Luger, everybody was there because it was a Monday Nitro. And again, Savage is in the locker room, and he walked up to me, Block, hey, what's going on? Hey, Randy, how you doing? I'm not, trying to cause any problems with him. I didn't forget that he did what he did to me with Vince, but just, I'm in the business. You don't want to burn any bridges if you don't have to.
Right.
But anyways, he brought me over to Hogan, and he said, Hogan, you remember him? You remember how he jumped in the ring before you? And then Hogan said, Randy, why don't you stop with that? Cut it out now. Enough is enough. So Randy must have just told him several times, and then because he must have told him that he's seen me when he was in Japan. You know what I mean? And it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, Hogan. Yeah, I met Hogan, and he said, "Hey, brother, now you're in the business, and good luck." Not realizing at the time that Hogan was calling a lot of shots too in the WCW, and that he was holding me back too. You know what I mean? He was holding me back. Why was Because I'll tell you something. When Hogan went to walk out to that ring, when I jumped in against the one man gang, the roof was off the rafters. People were going crazy. I mean, crazy, because I got in there. I took them down within 10, 15 seconds, John, and I'm covering them, and the people were going wild. And at this time, Hogan's walking out to the ring. You know how he does his thing. You know what I mean? And he's looking, and he stopped in his steps, and he looking in the ring, and he sees I got the one man gang down, and I've got him pinned, and he just stops and waits, and then when it was time for him and Hogan to wrestle, One Man Gang wouldn't go back out in the ring for about an hour later, half hour later, because he didn't want to end up getting into that situation again. You know, they had to talk.
Yep.
Hey, come on, man. You know, we got to get this going because it's TV, and you know what I mean. I mean, it took them a while, maybe not an hour, but it took them a while for them to get him back into that ring. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So, the what was I gonna say? And then when I went for the dark match for WWF, Slick seen me sitting there, and he's eyeing me. He's going back and forth. Yo, I know you. I damn sure. Oh hell. Oh no, no you ain't. No you ain't. It rang a bell in his head. Who I was, the guy that jumped in the ring against the One Man Gang. And that, I don't know if you know this or not, but right after I jumped in the ring against the One Man Gang, they changed his name immediately to Akeem the Dream.
Right. Right.
Right after that happened. So this is like a year or two later. Maybe, yeah, a year or two later. Now Akeem and the big no, the big boss man were partners. And Slick seen me there for the dark match, and he said, "Oh no, don't you go nowhere, Motor Scooter Roto. Oh no," swearing at my mother, the M word, mother this, and
Yeah.
don't you go nowhere. And I'll be right back. And I'm sitting there laughing, and here comes Akeem and the boss man. He goes, "You know who this guy is?" And I don't know, One Man Gang, Akeem, he's legally blind. He's legally blind.
Oh,
He
wow.
can't, oh yeah, he can't see without his glasses. I mean, unless it's up close. And he seen me and he goes, "Nah, man, you bothering me about this shit? I don't know this guy." He goes, "Yeah, you do. That's the one that jumped in the ring on you in Rochester." And him and Boss Man started laughing. They said, "Well," I said, "Brother, it wasn't nothing personal. It was just trying to get in the business." And Akeem was cool, and he said, "Hey, man, well, at least next time I'll know. You know what I mean? If I do
Yeah.
work with you." So, they were cool about it. You know what I mean? The only one that tried to stick it to me was Randy Savage. You know what I mean? He just tried to bury me, But I kind of understand that because that was his whole life. You know what I mean? Once he got into the business, you know what I mean? Randy was a character of his own. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But what else was I gonna say? Brutus Beefcake. How about this one? Brutus Beefcake blew me off like no tomorrow when I first went to meet him and Hogan. And then how about this? When I left the WCW, I was wrestling in Independence for Kevin Sullivan because he already had left the WCW and Public Enemy, and we were wrestling like in Key West and all over down south. And lo and behold, I'm traveling with me and Lester were traveling together. The Brutus Beefcake. We were traveling together. It's just funny how
Wow. Yeah. What a small world. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean. How things revolve around. You know what I mean. Come back around.
Yep.
And he says, "Yo, brother, I'm sorry I didn't mean to treat you like that." I said, "Lester, don't worry about it, brother. I'm in the business now, and I understand. It's all good, man. I don't hold no grudges to what I mean. So it's all good." So we traveled, for a little while together. You know what I mean, and it was all good. But it's just funny how it just circled back around.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy the way that goes. I'm just
Yeah,
curious. Like, I remember you had this finisher where you kind of go from the outside and you fall to the inside. Where'd you get that from? It was such a cool move because it's like, oh, this big guy's not gonna be able to do this, and you pull it off. But it's a pretty damn cool finisher.
yeah. I didn't do it enough repetitions to do it, but I was doing that when I was in Japan, or I mean in Yeah, in Japan and in Puerto Rico. You know, I was just trying to figure out some kind of a finish that I could do that would be different. You know what I mean? I mean, I could jump out, I could do a splash off the top rope being a big guy in that, but I just felt that, you know, I'm not going to be doing that too often because my knees are going to end up catching up to me like that.
Right.
You know, your weight down because you got to look out for the guy that, you know, you're coming down on. And you got to look out for yourself. So I said, I'm not going to, you know, keep doing the splash. So I said, you know, I got to come up with something different. And I just did the, you know, the sack of crap slam, you know, they call it the sack of shit slam. I'm sure you know
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
I did that, boom, right by the rope. And I said, okay, well, let me do a backflip. And, you know, I just didn't do it enough because I wasn't consistent enough, you know, landing back straight. I would be going to the right or the left at times. But, you know, it's all good. I thought it was an original, you know, finish.
Yeah. Very cool. Did you like coming out with the sawhorse? Was that your idea? Was it WCW's idea when you came out with it?
No, mine. Yeah, that was um, actually a buddy I went to college with. We were talking, and I told him I'm going to get into wrestling. He says, what kind of name are you going to go? I said, I really don't know, man. And then he said, man, you look like a roadblock. And then, you know, that kind of stuck with me, roadblock. And then once he said roadblock, I just put all the different things together. You know what I mean? The outfit with the hash marks and, you know, I said, well, walk to the ring with the sawhorse and put it over the guy after I get done, you know, pinning him. I just wanted to come up with something a little different. You know what I mean? And that's how that all came about. I'll tell you one thing. I when I wrestled for WCCW, the Saboldis, I was up in Prescott actually. It was like a 20-hour ride, like I was saying earlier, and I sliced my thumb on the ridge of that there uh, roadblock because it's a metal sawhorse that folds. And that was so sharp. My thumb was gushing blood. And I got into the wrestling, you know, into the ring to wrestle the guy. And I mean, he had pink tights on. By the time he left, I mean, his pants were just red as all full of blood. I mean,
Oh,
from the beginning to the end, you know, because I sliced my finger wide open. I should have went got stitches, but didn't. But it was just weird. You know what I mean?
I
It's
know that
none.
happened to a buddy of mine, semi-famous wrestler, obviously, but he cut his finger open. He glued it. He put glue on it, like glue to keep it closed.
Brother, listen to this one talking about that. In Puerto Rico, Carlitos Colon, he slices his forehead and then he glues it. So when you get in the ring, you start hitting it, the blood starts gushing out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what else he did. I'd rather see him do that than you know what else he did? He put the blade inside his mouth between his cheeks and his teeth. He put the blade, the razor blade.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy, man. There's no
Yeah,
way.
it's
I mean,
not
you
safe.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, some of these guys were just out there, but you know, it's all good.
Now, just looking back at your career, though, do you have like favorite matches or favorite opponents or guys you just love to work? Because I know you work some big, really, famous names. I mean, Tenru, Haku, even obviously Goldberg. We mentioned Luger. Is there some other guys you'd like really working with?
Yeah, I tell you, who I liked working with was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hacksaw was really really cool. Connect was really cool. Um, Let me see. Them were the guys that really stood out for me. I mean, Goldberg was good. You know what I mean? I mean, because I feel that I helped him out. You know what I mean? I served my purpose with him. You know what I mean? And my purpose with him was to get him over. You know what I mean? Just like I did with Luger and
Yep.
you know so many other guys. Another match, I wrestled was with Doink the Clown and a midget wrestler. That was a fun match too. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, um, what's his name? Carlitos Colon was a lot of fun. You know what I mean? In Puerto Rico, it's just so crazy. Like I was telling you, John, I wrestled Carlos in Salina. That's his hometown. It took me 20 minutes to get to the ring from the locker room because they were throwing blow darts, urinating in the cup, throwing it at you, throwing spark plugs at you. I finally get in the ring and I'm wrestling Carlos. And we tie up and I get him down on the ground and I'm hitting him. All of a sudden I'm getting pelted with, rocks and spark plugs from all over. And by them doing that, I'm not the only one getting hit. Carlos is laying down with his head up. So he's getting hit too. I'm trying to cover him, but these guys, them Puerto Ricans, man, they can throw. Let me tell you something. They can throw. I'll tell you another good one on that one. And so Carlos said, hey, let's switch over around. And so Carlos, he got on top and he got the people's attention. He goes, wow. You know what I mean? So everybody just stopped throwing the rocks. You know what I mean? They had to turn the heat around. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
that's how
crazy.
Puerto Rico. What's that?
Sounds crazy.
Oh, brother, it was crazy, man. But like I said, it was an adrenaline rush that just was out of this world, man. It was. From the moment you get out of the van to get into the La Cancha, which is the arena, to get back into that van, is an adrenaline rush. When I left that night, I caused a riot. I had to wait 2 hours for the state police to come and get me to get into the van. And then when they got me in the van, they were trying to tip the van over. It's just crazy in Puerto Rico. It was crazy. But like I said, it was just an adrenaline rush like no other. But as far as like me saying, man, Puerto Ricans know how to throw, man. They've been throwing, the men and the women. They gave me a manager. I can't remember his name in Puerto Rico. What the heck is his name? He was real green. And we did TV every Tuesday in the town, Torreo or something like that. But anyways, we did a TV every Tuesday. And I said, watch out, man. Watch out. Facing the crowds and talking shit to them.
Right. They'll kill you.
They will kill you. And they'll throw shit at you and you will find out that you wish you didn't. So here he is. He's on the apron. I'm wrestling. He turns around and I come to the corner and here he is. He turns around to the, cause I got a high spot off the guy I was wrestling. And he turns around and he goes to the audience. He throws his hands down to his crotch and he goes, cucaracha. And he's giving them all the finger, cucaracha. And then a lady, not a guy, an old lady, she had an ice cube. She threw it at him and hit him in the eyeball. Lights were done with him. His eye filled up with blood. He was all done. They had to rush him to the hospital. They don't play around in Puerto Rico, man. I said, you want to turn around and talk shit to him again?
Yeah. Oh my God. Hell no. Yeah. Dangerous.
No, that old lady, she hit him right in the eyeball, John. It was just so funny because I told him, I said, man, you got to be careful. But, it was all good.
Like you said, it could be a good adrenaline rush, but it's still dangerous.
Oh, yes, brother. Yes. It was. It was dangerous, but it was an adrenaline rush like no other, man. They sell pinchos. Pinchos are shish kebabs. You get done wrestling, you take a cold shower because they don't have hot water at the La Canchas, at the arenas. So you take a cold shower and you open the door a little bit and you're looking outside, see if there's any fans. And there's the guy with the pincho, the shish kebab stand. You run out there, get them, and you run back in. You know what I mean? So the fans don't start, rocking
Pelting
you.
Yeah. Pelting you.
Oh, yeah. So it was fun. Like I said, like you said, it's a double-edged sword, man.
It's one of those places, like if you're a heel, it's great because you're doing your job and they hate you. But then it's like, man, they really might do some damage here. This is not good. This is not safe.
Brother, I had, like I said, there was only two security guards in Puerto Rico, and they don't have ringside seats. And when you walk into there, you got to walk past all these people. There was a 14-year-old kid that had a shank that was getting ready to, run up on me and
Yeah.
shank me. And thank God, John, I seen him out of the corner of my eye, and I had my roadblock with me over my shoulders. And when I seen him coming at me, I lifted my roadblock like I was going to knock him out with it. You know what I mean? And even though he was 14, I'm not going to get, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, if you're big enough to do that, you got to be big enough to take it, So he seen me do that, and he just hauled the other way. And then there was another time where I came out. It was a weird arena, like 90% of the wrestling arenas were basketball courts or baseball stadiums where you wrestled in Puerto Rico.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and this one basketball court, the stands come up, or you come out up to the stands where the stands are. This guy had to be 70 something years old. I came out and I had my roadblock up in the air like this. This guy wailed. How the hell, John? How the hell do you get a 2x4 in the arena?
Right.
The guy wailed me on my back with that 2x4 so hard, it was like woke me up and like, whoa. And I turned around. I was going to hit him with my roadblock. He backed off. I mean, and then there was another time we were in another arena, and Carlos and I was like a fall anywhere in the arena. We went up like, I don't know, 30 rows up, and there was this old lady. She had to be 70, 80 years old, and she slapped the living shit out of me. I mean, Carlos put me in a double chicken wing, and he put my face over by her. She slapped me like I stole something from her.
Wow.
I mean, again, the adrenaline rush was just overtaking any pain or anything. You know what I mean? And it was like Puerto Rico was just wow. It was deep. It was a deep territory.
Man, what a rush, but man, what a crazy place. Wow.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy, man.
Now, as we wind it down, we'll head towards the finish here. Where was your favorite place to work? You said Japan was your favorite?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I like Japan as far as the environment and all that, the wrestling style. But Puerto Rico was what was the most adrenaline rush place to wrestle, if you know what I mean. I mean, I love Japan. I mean, I gotta go back to Japan in a heartbeat, just to visit. I mean, I had three more opportunities after I've been to Japan probably 4 or 5 times, but I could have kept going back there. But at the time, the last few times I was getting ready to go back, my dad was in hospice, and the last time I went there, I flew to Japan. It was January 1st, actually, here. I flew to Japan and called my mother and asked how my dad was doing. She said he's got the rattle. And so I ended up jumping on the plane and coming right back home. So I just flew there, slept, woke up, and came back home. And that was the last time I went to Japan. You know what I mean? I had offers to go there a couple of times after that, but I just gave it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see them liking you, like the big gaijins, you know what I mean? The monster guy. They love that over there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And Japan's just, people are just unbelievable. You know what I mean? They're friendly. Just don't get in their way when they're trying to get on the train. You know what I mean? Because they'll run you over. It doesn't matter, old lady, old guy. Don't be in the way because they'll run you over. But yeah, I love Japan, but Puerto Rico was the most exciting and adrenaline rush as far as where I was. Mexico was, different, but yeah.
WCW, though, you weren't too happy there? You weren't a big fan of working there? Too much
Well,
backstage stuff?
I just feel that I was being used there. You know what I mean? In a way in which my job was just to get the guys over. You know what I mean? Because they had so much going on over there, and I was a team player rather than, okay, I put Luger over, I put a couple guys over, and now it's time to reciprocate. And it just I kept wishing for something that never happened, if you understand what I'm saying,
Hmm.
because they were in such turmoil at the time. And I think, again, Hogan had a hard on out for me too, because I jumped in the ring against the one man gang when Hogan was walking out to the ring. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense to you or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he was calling a lot of the shots in WCW. So it's all good. I'll tell you who else I loved working with. I'll tell you who else is an unbelievable man. Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, yeah.
Brother, let me tell you something. Diamond Dallas Page is a one of a kind, man. He was the only one and the first one when I got to WCW said, "Hey, Roadblock, how you doing? I'm Dallas Page." I said, "Nice to meet you, Dallas." He says, "Here's my phone number. Anytime you need me or anything, give me a call. And if I can help you out in any way, I'll do that." And I never called him out, you know what I mean? And we had a decent match there. This is when he was getting pushed real hard. And I ended up, this is years after I left WCW in 98. Now in 2000, this is what, 98, 21 years later, I got COVID December. And in March, I was working out. I lost 35 pounds and I was working out. And I said, you know what? Let me get a hold of Dallas Page. And I got a hold of Dallas Page. And let me tell you something, brother. I had two torn medium meniscus in my knees, and my back was messed up. And I felt like I wasn't going to be able to retire. I thought I was going to be going out on Social Security disability. Brother, I called Dallas Page and he said, brother, let me tell you something. I'm going to hook you up with my program, DDPY, now, Diamond Dallas Yoga, now.
Yep.
Brother, I've lost 100 pounds total. I put a couple back on within the last 2 weeks, but that's coming off because I'm getting ready to retire and I got. But anyways, and he said, brother, I look out for the brothers. He says, don't worry about a thing. Just promise me that you stick with the program and you're golden. I got you covered. And brother, it's been 2 years now. And he's been looking out for me, man. So I tell you that if you know anybody or even yourself, man, you do DDPY, it'll change your life, man. It really will. He is the man, Diamond Dallas Page. Brother, he's amazing, man. I don't know. Have you ever heard of it or have you seen it at all or no?
Oh, very familiar with it. Oh, yeah. Very good
What do you think
stuff.
about it?
Amazing, because I've seen what he's done with like guys like Chris Jericho who hurt his back and AJ Styles hurt his back really bad. You wouldn't know it because they started doing DDPY and he healed those guys up quickly. Scott
Yes.
Hall, Jake the Snake. I mean, he was healing up a bunch of guys.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And that's not even counting, people that didn't wrestle. There was one guy, I'm not sure if you ever heard of him. I'm sure you had to if you did, watch DDPY. The guy's name is Arthur Borman.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
I
He
mean,
couldn't
that was,
walk, and all of a sudden he's running. Yeah,
yeah, yes. I mean, and that's just one of the many success stories that he's got in his program, man. I mean, I, the man's amazing, man. The man's amazing, you know. So Dallas Page is the man. I have to really say that. I mean, he's really helped me out. He's changed my life. He really has, man, to the point to where I'm blessed even more so, because doing his yoga program, like I said, I mean, I lost 100 pounds, you
yeah,
know.
amazing. Yep.
Yes, it is. And I got still more to go, but, you know, one day at a time, man. So where are you located out of, John?
Asbury Park, New Jersey, home of Bam Bam Bigelow, who also was a big part of the Monster Factory back in
Yeah,
the day with
yeah.
Larry Sharp.
Oh, yeah. I think he was the number one man that ever came out of the Monster
Me
Factory,
too. Yep, agreed.
you know. And he was a shooter, man. He was a legit tough guy. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah.
He was a tough guy. God bless him. His life was cut short, but you live by the sword. You know what I mean?
Yep. Now, before we let you go, just want to ask, where can everybody find you? Do you have social media, or do you do social media or anything like that?
I not really. I really don't. Maybe I should set one up, especially getting ready to, go on the road to push these here action figures that the wrestling figures that Salvatore is coming out with. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, Rush Collectibles, of course, like we said, you go to hookedontees.com and pick them up. The French Angel, Larry Zbyszko, the living legend, and then yourself. The figures, they look great, but everybody should get out there. Part of the Ringmasters collection that Sal came up with. So
Yeah.
everybody should get out there, get some figures. Figures are getting big these days, so you got to collect them all.
Yes, you're right. And I tell you, man, the figures, I mean, they couldn't get more like what we look like. I mean, all of us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Amazing. Sal's an amazing designer and everything. Sal's an amazing man. You know what I mean? And you're right. The Ringmasters is a good company there.
Yes.
You know?
So Roadblock, thank you.
My pleasure. Hopefully we could do this again if you want.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, let's plan on doing another one for sure. A lot to talk about, but thank you so much for all the time. I really appreciate it.
Same here, brother. You have a blessed night.
Yep, you too.
All right. Take care, John.
The time has come. Are you ready for Ringmasters, Larry Zbyszko, Roadblock, and the French Angel? Each sold separately. Collect all three, available now at participating partners only from Rush Collectibles.